what's up, guys? It's Jordan with the Laundromat Resource Podcast. This is show number 19, and I'm super pumped that you are here today because today is another special episode. We're talking with Jeff Sanchez, and he's bringing a unique story to the podcast. He's bringing a lot of unique things to this podcast, actually, things that we've never had on this podcast. And he's sharing some raw personal information in this show, personal financial information. And he talks about how he's trying to use laundromats to claw his way out of just a dark financial situation that he found himself in. And so, Jeff, again, props to you for sharing what you share on this show. And man, I'm super excited to see where this journey takes you. I'm super pumped for you. I'm super pumped for you guys listening to this who get to experience a little bit of it with him. And man, at the very end, after the interview, I'm going to share some of my final takeaways from this interview. So make sure that you stay tuned all the way to the end for that. And, you know, if you've been listening to this show at all in the past, you know that I'm all about taking action. So we're going to talk about that a little bit for this show also at the end. So make sure you stick around for that. Real quick, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you guys. We had our biggest podcast download week that we've ever had this past week. So thank you guys for checking out the show. Hopefully you guys are finding a ton of valuable stuff in there for you personally and also for your businesses, because that's what we are all about, trying to provide resources to help you guys grow personally and to help you grow your businesses and to find financial freedom through laundromat ownership. That is our goal. That's what we're trying to do here. So hopefully it's helping you out in those goals. So huge. And an extra special thank you to those of you in Atlanta, Georgia, all the way on the other side of the country from where I am. But for whatever reason, the last few weeks, Atlanta, Georgia has been showing up big and downloading a lot of episodes and listening to a lot of them. So what's up out there in Atlanta? Can't wait to come out that way again. And hopefully I'll get to see some of you guys and maybe check out some of your laundromats out there. That'd be awesome. I would love that. So hit me up if you're in Atlanta. Come say what's up. Come say hi in the forums or drop me an email or whatever. Speaking of forums, I want to remind you every week, get in those forums, ask a question, answer a question, because that is where growth will happen for you. That's where you're going to meet a lot of other laundromat owners, help each other out, get some help for yourself. So get in there, ask a question, answer a question, and extra kudos to Ron Morris out there, who is in there welcoming new people in the introductions forum and contributing to conversations in a bunch of different topics in there. I wanted to just do an extra special shout out to Ron, who is he's really helping a lot of people out in there. So way to go, Ron. Awesome to see you in the forums. Hope to see you some more and hope to see more of you guys in those forums. All right. I'm just excited for this talk with Jeff. I know you guys are excited too. So let's get into it right after this.
In today's world, if your laundromat is not online, you're losing business. Customers increasingly decide who to trust with their laundry by the quality of your web presence. But creating a professional logo and website that instills trust in potential customers and can be found on page 1 of Google can be difficult to create on your own and expensive to purchase through a traditional marketing company. As part of our mission to help laundromat owners succeed and find financial freedom through laundromat ownership, we are launching our done-for-you marketing service tailored specifically for laundromats. After ranking number 1 on Google with our own laundromat website and consulting with many others to help them do the same, we guarantee that we can build you a professional website that ranks on page 1 of Google within 6 months. Our joint expertise in the laundry industry and over 15 combined years in website design and online marketing allow us to offer affordable, transparent pricing for a high-quality web presence for your laundromats. You invest so much into providing your customers a quality laundry experience. Don't let anyone miss out on what you have to offer simply because they can't find you online. Let Laundromat Resource Marketing take care of your online presence so you can take care of your customers. Visit laundromatresource.com/getonline today for more information. That's laundromatresource.com/getonline, or click on the link in the description.
Jeff, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, Jordan. I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I am doing awesome. Although here I'm in, LA here, and yesterday was 111 degrees and humid. I mean, we pay a lot of good money to not have to put up with that. So I don't know what's going on. But
here in northern New Jersey today, it's cloudy and about 68 degrees.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't tell me that. Yeah. Is that August right now? Oh my gosh.
I know, right? You wouldn't think.
What's going on? Isn't it supposed to be sweltering there?
It has been. Last couple of weeks has been pretty bad. Yeah. But we have a little bit of a reprieve today with the nice weather.
Hey man, enjoy it. And you know what? I know why that is. I don't know if you want to know why. I know why it is. It's because it's your birthday today. Happy birthday, man. Someone is looking out for you and wanted to give you,
I know, right?
Just some nice weather for your birthday so you can enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and double thanks for coming on your birthday. That's a big deal.
Oh, no problem. I just happened to have the day off today. I took the day off and I spent it scouting some stores.
Awesome.
So always working, man. Always working.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into that in a second. But first, before we do, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and, kind of where you're coming from in life?
Well, I just turned 45 today. I work full time. I work for a money transmitter. Think of it as kind of like Western Union. I work in the legal compliance department. Been there about 5 years. I do like my job. But just like everybody else, you're just trying to keep your head above water. And, excuse me. And, no matter how hard you work for somebody or how good your job is, you're always going to be making money for someone else.
Yep.
And I'm looking to change that. I'm just an average guy. I'm nobody special. Hard worker. I enjoy a lot of things. I'm kind of a big geek. I like a lot of sci-fi. I like to read. I like to play chess. I like all other kinds of games and whatnot.
Hey, we need to play chess sometime.
Hey, all right. I mean, that's pretty much it. As far as me, I don't know what else to say about me. I'm just your average kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Did you grow up in New Jersey?
I've lived in New Jersey my whole life in a small little town called Cliffside Park, which is about 3 miles from the George Washington Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
cool area.
Yeah. Very populated. A lot of laundromats in this area.
Yeah. No kidding. Well, that sounds like opportunity to me.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Well, tell us now, I mean, speaking of opportunity, tell us, I mean, you're unique in as far as guests have come on this show so far, in that you don't own a laundromat yet, right? But you're looking?
Yeah, I'm looking, and I'll give you a little background story as to how I came about considering getting into the laundry business.
Yeah, tell me.
So late last year, things happen. My finances were a mess. And I had no choice but to file for bankruptcy. Like I said, things happen. I just let things slide. Mm-hmm. And I had no choice but to do it. But once everything was said and done, I went to the meeting of the trustees and everything was, expelled. I thought to myself, what now? Keep working for someone else and then in 5 years fall again into the same trap. I said, no, I can't do that. And the funny thing is that late last year, we had bought a brand new washer and dryer. And one day the washer actually kind of died on us.
A new one?
Yeah. And I was furious.
Oh, man.
I was so upset over that. And that night, I actually had a dream that I owned a laundromat. And then I woke up in the morning and I said, a laundromat? I would have never thought in a million years to own a laundromat, but it stuck with me. And I started doing my research and just kept researching and researching and researching. And everything that I came across said that you needed a tremendous amount of cash, cash which I did not have. So instead of just giving up and saying, no, I can't, I just don't have the cash to do it, I'm not going to bother, I kept digging and I kept digging and I kept digging. And I came across this one guy on YouTube who has a whole bunch of videos on there saying that you don't really have to pay for these things. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you don't really have to pay for these things. So I said, okay, I'm intrigued now. So I kept watching these videos, started realizing that what he was saying was making complete and utter sense, total sense. And his name is Danny D'Angelo. And I continued to follow him, and he was selling a DVD with all of his ideas and his whole process on how to obtain these laundromats. And I bit the bullet and I bought it, and it's chock full of information, and I was completely sold on it. So since then, I have been trying to obtain a laundromat by essentially taking over the leases of failed or failing stores. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Like I said, I live in northern New Jersey. There's no shortage of laundromats here.
Laundromats everywhere.
So many. There's so many. In my town alone, there's, I believe, 7 laundromats. You know, and I've been to all of them. Scouting the stores is really my strength. Dealing with people face to face is my strength. I love going into these places, introducing myself, handing these owners my business card. And I was really shocked to see how open these owners are to talk to you and to answer your questions. It really has been a phenomenal experience. Yeah, maybe there are 1 or 2 that have kind of chased me out.
Yeah. I was going to say, because that sounds like an anomaly to me. Every time I try to talk to an owner in their store, they're like, what are you, a laundromat owner? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
There have been 1 or 2 cases where I've just kind of been chewed out. Nicely, I have to say. I wasn't like kicked out. But yeah, I mean, they're very open to answer your questions. You could pretty much ask them everything from, you know, how much do you pay for rent? How much is your water bill each month? How much is your electric bill each month?
Hey, that's awesome.
Very open. They're very open to discussing this. But yeah, I've been trying to obtain a laundromat on my own, trying to negotiate a lease on my own, and I realized that that's my weakness. I'm not really familiar with the commercial leases. I'm not familiar with dealing with these folks. So when this COVID-19 pandemic happened, I knew that it was the perfect opportunity, and I took whatever money I did have, and I hired Mr. D'Angelo to do that for me. And it has been quite an experience with him. He's an interesting character. And as far as commercial leases go and negotiating skills, he's an expert. I couldn't do that on my own. Like I had said, my strength is going to these stores, scouting them out, talking to people face to face. He's the negotiator. That's why I hired him. And, you know, it's been a process. We make our phone calls every week. I basically feed him leads, and he makes all those phone calls for me every week. And it's been an ongoing process. And he says it himself. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yep.
You have to have tremendous amount of patience. People think, you know, people hire him and they think it's going to happen overnight. if you're thinking about hiring Danny D'Angelo, the first thing you need to do is get out of your mind that it's going to happen overnight, because it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
You have to have tremendous patience to do this. You have to do the legwork. You have to get out there. You have to, put boots on the ground. Keep your eyes open for things. I don't want to go into detail too much about what to look for in a store and whatnot, because there really is a lot. That's basically it. That's where I am on my journey right now. And
so how are you finding stores to go, get the boots on the ground? Are you just driving around and when you see a store, you pop in, or?
Well, the ones in my town, the ones that are closest to me, that's what I do. I'll pop in.
Yeah.
But I'm also very familiar with other locations around. First thing I'll do is I'll go on to, for instance, Yelp or Google.
Uh-huh.
I'll go on there. I'll look at pictures, see if the pictures are old. If they're too old, I'll go there myself. I'll go there myself and talk to the owner and whatnot. I'll also look at their reviews.
Uh-huh.
If they have poor reviews, that sends up red flags. So I will definitely check Yelp and Google first. And driving around, believe it or not, there have been a couple of times where I was scouting one store and came across one that I had no idea existed. Didn't find anything on Yelp or Google, but I was like, oh, there it is. I didn't know that was there. Let me check it out. So, that's the process that I use. But rule of thumb is to check the ones out in your neighborhood first.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Being closer to home obviously has a huge advantage.
Right.
Yeah, to that.
Absolutely.
So what's it been like when you're talking with these owners? You said most of them have been receiving you well and
right.
you a lot of information. What are you trying to get with? Are you trying to ascertain whether they're, getting out of the business, or what's your goal when you talk to these owners?
My goal is to get an idea as to what they pay as far as rent, get an idea as far as what they're paying each month for their utilities, because that's an enormous cost.
Mm-hmm.
That is an enormous cost. I came across one not that far from me, maybe 15, 20 minutes from me, that I did try to obtain, which I really wanted badly because they use well water.
Oh, whoa, nice.
So can you imagine not having a water bill?
Yeah.
So, you find out little things like that. Like I would have never known that they had well water if I didn't speak to the owner.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely want to get a feel if they're going to stick around in the business or not.
Yeah.
You want to get a feel as to whether they're interested in purchasing new equipment or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, those are red flags.
Yeah.
Customers want the new shiny equipment.
Yep.
That's just how it is.
Yep.
And then, you get a feel for it. If you feel that they're not looking to get out, if you feel that they are going to be getting equipment, you kind of just leave that alone. You just kind of walk away and you just keep an eye out for it.
Right.
You see if things change. You see if 6 months to a year from now, they don't have new equipment. You may want to jump on that one a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have to keep a close eye on it. That's pretty much it. I haven't had a problem with an owner not answering any of my questions.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have an issue telling you what exactly they're paying as far as rent. Totally understandable.
Yeah, totally.
Totally understandable. But yeah, that's really, and there's also one owner that I spoke to in the Jersey City area. We actually still keep in touch because I actually know a guy, a maintenance guy who comes and fixes washers and stuff. And he would call me and said, hey, Jeff, do you still have that guy's number? And I'm like, yeah, man. I gave him his number. He called me back. He said, oh, yeah, you were right. This guy's great. This guy happened to fix one of my washers once a long time ago, and I kept his number, and he's always been very, very receptive. He cut us a nice deal on, the parts and whatnot. So I always remembered him, and I told him I'm going to throw business his way. So, that owner and I, we still kind of keep in touch.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
it's good to keep in touch.
Yeah, I think too, like one of the very underutilized ways of finding a laundromat, especially if you're looking for one that's run down, is talking to mechanics who are going out.
Yeah.
I mean, who sees more laundromats than mechanics other than maybe brokers?
Right.
But, the kind of laundromat that you're looking for, a broker's probably not going to be in the picture because, they're just not worth a lot of money to sell.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, man, so that's cool. So you have been out there hustling. How many laundromats do you think you've looked at so far?
Oh man, I couldn't even put a finger on it. Oh, I would say maybe 50.
Yeah, so you've been out there hustling.
Yeah. My full-time job, I work 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
So that gives me some time in the mornings before I get to work to, scope out a few. And then, of course, on the weekends, when I have my free time, I'll definitely do a lot of scoping. My fiance lives in the city of Bayonne, New Jersey.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of scouting there as well. There's quite a few laundromats there as well. There's a few in Jersey City, which is close by also. I've gone there. I've gone all over the place in North. I've even gone as far as Staten Island, New York, because I got word on one that was there, and I didn't get it, but that's okay. It's still there, and that's another one that I'm keeping my eye out for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think probably a lot of this process for you will be kind of keeping tabs on the ones that have potential for you, and because they're not probably going to develop right away. It's going to take a little time to develop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a marathon. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Best way to put it.
Yeah. So, okay. So you're looking for kind of rundown laundromats that.
What do they call them? Zombie mats.
Yeah. The zombie mat.
Zombie mats.
Yeah. That's how they're kind of known in the industry. So you're looking for kind of a zombie mat.
Right.
And you're looking to, either take over a lease or write a new lease if it's already shut down. Have you found any that are shut down at all?
I have found two actually that were already shut down. All the infrastructure is in place. Because Jordan, what this whole system is, the whole Danny D'Angelo system, it's all about existing infrastructure. Right. That's what we're really looking for, is just existing infrastructure.
Yeah.
I have found two that the infrastructure was in place. But the fact is that they were too small.
Yeah.
They were just too small. One was about 600 square feet.
Oh, God.
The other, it's way too small. And the other one was about 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
You just can't make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's okay. And I think it's not really more work to have a larger store than to have a smaller store. And since you're doing the same amount of work, man, the amount of returns you can get from 600 square feet is not high. I mean,
it's not there.
If you're getting it for free and, the time cost isn't too much, then hey, maybe it's still worth it. But, it's still, that's a tough one to make work, I think, at 600 square feet.
Right. And both locations actually had a competitor, which was maybe a block away.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why they're shut down.
It's not worth it. I if that wasn't there and if the space was bigger, I would have jumped on it.
Yeah.
But it's just too many factors.
Yeah. Well, I know you haven't gotten there yet, but have you thought through it all? So these zombie mats, that are run down, that business isn't great, they are like that for a reason. And, one of the reasons is sometimes owners just don't want to reinvest in their business.
Right.
And they just kind of want to milk them dry.
Right.
But, if business is not at its full potential, have you thought about, other than maybe putting in new equipment, how how would you get new business in there? Because that's a big obstacle for laundromat owners who are buying laundromats that, need improvement in order to increase customer base. Have you thought about that at all?
Right. Oh, definitely. I think it's really all about marketing. If you don't market people think, it's a laundromat. People are just going to come. People are just going to line up around the corner on the grand opening. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
You have to market that store, and you have to market it properly.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're going to fall right into the same trap again. It's very important to also have promotions. Hey, come on this day and bring this flyer with a coupon saying, free dry with your wash, and make the customer come in with that coupon.
Yeah.
Let them show that they had it, they got it. They got it on their doorstep, on their car, whatever. Market it on Facebook. Market it on Google. It's free to do these things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't take advantage of it. I've been to a lot of stores that I've scouted, and I'm shocked that they have no internet presence whatsoever. It's really shocking. Like, how did you not have a Facebook page? You got to get on that Facebook page. You got to make a page for that. So I really think getting customers in the door is really all about marketing.
Yeah.
And like I said before, customers want the bright, shiny new machines. Got to have that in there.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it's good. And I think that a lot of laundromat owners are not great marketers, and you can tell pretty obviously which ones are and which ones are not.
Right.
By how many people are in their stores. And so I think it's a big deal for sure.
Oh, absolutely, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like I said, these folks, they think it's a laundromat. They could just sit back and do nothing. A big mistake that a lot of owners do that let these businesses slide is that they think that it's turnkey. Laundromats are about as turnkey as you can get, but there really is no 100% turnkey business. Yeah. If there is, please call me. Let me know what that business is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have to get involved. You have to be there. There are certain times that you have to be there. I think you had said it once on one of your episodes, pipes are going to break, floods are going to happen.
Yes.
Have to be attentive.
Yep.
You know as well as anybody.
Oh, yeah. I've had my fair share. Any owner.
Yeah. A lot of these owners, they think that they can go on, they can go to Hawaii for 2 or 3 weeks and not worry about the laundromat. It's just not like that.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these places, they get run down.
Mm-hmm.
And, they don't have bother with the new equipment. So, that's really on them.
Yep. Yeah, definitely how you manage it is a big, deal on how how it's going to perform and how it's going to perform over time. I always tell people, I think I mentioned this on here before, but, anytime you're dealing with business, you're going to have problems. And anytime you're dealing with people, anytime you're dealing with the public, you're going to have problems to deal with. And you got both in a laundromat. And like you said, they're about as turnkey as you can get in terms of a business, but they do require management, and they do require time and effort and energy. So I was going to ask you, I think one of the benefits of the way that you have stuff set up with Danny is that, you have these people skills, you're kind of gathering information, you're doing all that stuff, but it's really hard to do that and be the bad guy and, the negotiator, the hard nosed, and so kind of almost playing like a good cop, bad cop, and that's where it's really helpful for, I think, most people to have someone that they're working with to help. And I think, brokers can play that role, or, a consultant like a Danny or somebody can play that role for you, because it's not a personal, thing for them. But with that said, I wanted to ask you, because one of the big, points of controversy with Danny's whole system is, going behind current owners' backs and, trying to take that lease through the landlord. And so I was just going to ask you, like, what are your thoughts on that, or how is that, presented? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. At first, it did seem that way. It did seem, what's the word I'm looking for? Underhanded.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer see it that way. If sadly these guys, these owners, the operators, aren't upkeeping their space, upkeeping their business,
mm-hmm.
and they don't pay the rent on time, legally, the landlord can seek someone else to take over that lease
mm-hmm.
by law. If they're more than 10 days late on their rent, they can and will look for someone else. I can't really help the fact that they're not paying their rent. The landlord is there to make money as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, do I feel bad for these owners? Yes, of course. I'm a human being. But I also have the opportunity to take this over and make money for that landlord by updating the equipment, updating the space, and create that business environment that they're so looking for. What you want to do is you want to create that anchor tenant that most landlords crave. And sadly, I don't want to sound harsh, but if these guys aren't getting it done, the landlord's going to look somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound harsh, but it's just like I said, if they're not doing it, the landlord can look for someone else that will.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the push pull of his system, there's kind of the both and argument. I mean, it's capitalism right there, with
absolutely
the landlord who's running their business,
right,
their investment, and who, wants to be making their money. And, it is kind of the push pull of his system. And I think it's a fine line that,
yes,
that he's straddling, but I think you can do it well. Right. So talk to me about this plan that you have here. So you're trying to find a zombie mat that you can take over. What's the plan? Let's say you get keys dropped in your hand tomorrow, or with a little run up time to be able to prepare. What's the plan after you get keys?
Oof. Well, oh man. Well, my plan is to actually keep my full-time job. One laundromat's not going to make us rich. It's going to make us comfortable, but it's not going to make us rich. But yeah, I mean, if I had the keys in my hand today, the first thing I would do is call every single distributor in this area and say, who's going to get me machines?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's my thing. And then my intention is to not stop at one. I'd really like to get 3 altogether. So once I get one, the plan is to not stop at one, to keep going.
Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling, man.
Yeah.
Keep it rolling. There's a lot of locations that I've scouted and that Danny and I have called on that could potentially be optimum 2nd, 3rd, 4th stores.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely don't want to drop that. So I guess to answer your question, if I had keys dropped in today to get that one up and running, and then move on to number 2.
Yeah.
And then number 2 happens, get that up and running, and on to number 3. Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling. Good. So your plan is get on the phone with distributors. I love that. And I like that you said get on the phone with all the distributors in your area.
Every single one of them in this area is going to get a phone call from me.
Yeah, because those suckers will jack the price up on you. No offense to any distributors listening, but
yeah. And then the key with the distributors is, so you're going to give me these machines for how much? Okay, well, this guy's going to give it to me for this much.
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah. I've talked about this on the podcast before, I think, but I did that accidentally my first time around and ended up saving 40 grand. I was a week from having machines installed and was about to sign the papers, and they changed the terms. And I just went to a couple other distributors and handed them the paper. I'm like, I don't know, here's the quote I got, and ended up the end of that passing it around, 40 grand lighter on the bill. So definitely call multiple distributors.
Oh, no question about it. No question. And Danny ingrains that into the heads of his students.
Yeah.
Every single distributor in your area, call them. Even call manufacturers directly. Call Dexter directly. Call Speed Queen directly.
Yeah.
Call them all directly. Get quotes from every single one of them.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. So I'm assuming, here's what happens, right? You put in brand new machines and you look around and you're like, well, shoot, now that I have these shiny new machines, my floor looks a little dingy and the walls look a little, skiffy, and, the signage looks a little dated. So, obviously you're going to have to redo some of that. Are you thinking, just personally, I'm just curious, are you thinking maybe you do some of that work, or are you going to hire somebody to do it, or have you thought about that yet?
Well, the thing is that I'm open to doing some of that work, but one of the very important things is to put some of those things in your lease and have the landlord do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it is his anchor tenant. You want to aim to be his anchor, he or she's anchor tenant. It's really in their best interest to help you build some things up in that store, like a sign or a floor. So you definitely want to put that into your lease. You want to, as they say, include a lot of TI money in that lease, tenant improvements.
Yeah.
You definitely want that in there. But certain things I'm more than happy to fix up. If it needs a paint job, I'm more than happy to do that. That's easy. I can do that.
Oh man, I hate painting. Why don't you come over here? Really? I just moved this week, so I need some painting done. So come on in.
There you go. If it's certain things, like if it needs new ceiling tiles, I can do that. That's not a problem. Big stuff, I want the landlord to do it.
Yeah.
And it's in their best interest to do it.
I like that. I like, trying to get that help wherever you can get it.
Oh, absolutely.
Every buck you save is a buck in your pocket,
Right. Yeah. And you kind of have an advantage over them, the landlords, in this aspect, because you can always throw it at them that, okay, you can just vanilla the space and turn it into a dentist's office if you want to spend the $100,000 to rip out all that infrastructure.
Yeah.
Or you can give me a little bit of money and you can help improve the air conditioning units. You can help improve the floor. You have a nice anchor tenant for the next 10, 15, 20 years. It's really in their best interest to help you.
Yeah. It sounds like you're ready for the negotiations, man. Get in there.
Man, he's the negotiator. That's his expertise, man. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm ready. I've been ready. But I'm patient. I'm not going to jump into just one that's not the good situation. And he wouldn't let me do that.
Yeah.
He won't let me do that. It has to be the right situation. It has to be the right lease terms. Otherwise, I can't do anything with it.
How long have you been? Yeah. How long have you been looking so far? How long has it been?
Well, let's see.
Maybe with Danny and with his system.
With Danny's system, I've been looking since about January.
Okay.
And I hired him in April.
Okay.
So I had to go at it on my own for a little while until I was dealing with a landlord and he was incessantly yelling at me over the phone. And I said, he really acted like a child. And I said, you know what? I can't do it because I lost it too. And I yelled back. And that's not like me.
Yeah.
And I said, I need Danny. And I think a week later I hired him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is nice to have that buffer. And,
Oh, yeah.
getting, if it's not your deal, then you don't get as emotional, when somebody starts yelling at you. You just hang up the phone and call them back later. Why don't you cool down and then we can talk business when you're ready to be an adult, Yeah. So
and Danny actually ended up maybe last month calling him again. And it was pretty much the same situation. And then, me and Danny just kind of laughed it off.
Well, in a way, that's a good thing because you don't want to be stuck in a 30-year lease with a landlord that's going to be yelling at you all 30 years.
Exactly.
If that's how he's dealing with you on the phone.
Right.
Now it's just how he does things. And
it's just how he is. Right.
That's
exactly.
Just, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be dealing with that for 30 years. I wouldn't deal with that for 30 years, one way or another. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, good. Okay. So you've been looking since April.
Yep.
It sounds like you have a plan in place, for when that opportunity pops, and it does pop. I mean, this is this is not a secret technique in the industry. Plenty of people know about it and have done it and have done well with it. So, it's definitely a viable way as long as you go about it the right way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, I mean, you mentioned you wanted 3 laundromats. Is there a reason behind the 3?
Well,
let me ask you what, because we've had, Luke Williford has been on this podcast. I'll link to his show because it's a killer show. He's got like 37. I don't know.
I know.
This was like a month or 2 ago. So he might have like 40 by now. I don't know. He's just, but I'm just curious as to why you chose 3.
Carolina King of the Laundromat there.
Yeah.
3 is a nice round number. I think I can deal with 3.
Okay.
I don't know about more than that. If more happens, that's fine. But 3 is the number that's stuck in my head right now.
Yeah.
3 is manageable. I think in one of your recent episodes, which I thought was a great episode, you spoke about things to learn and things to do to make money while you're running your laundromats. Like I think you had mentioned Bitcoin and stuff like that. Well, I have an interest in Forex, foreign currency exchange. I run they call it a dummy account. It's actually fake money. And I've been doing it for a little while and I've made, fake money. But I can see myself, putting aside a little bit of that laundromat money and actually making some serious moves with that. I've also kind of just now looking into real estate wholesaling that I find interesting. So that's one of the things that I want to do, like in my spare time. I think more than 3 laundromats might cut into that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I may get to 3 and say, I need another one. I may get to 4 and say, I need another one.
Might be like a tattoo where you get one and then you just can't stop getting them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think it's great to have, a goal. I mean, if it's one thing I've learned in life, it's that, you just never know where life is going to take you.
Right.
And, you set your goals and you work towards them. And then when you get them, you may be in a situation where you're like, well, shoot, man, I want to be Forex trading full time, or, you might, buy a grocery store. Like, who knows, man? You could be doing anything. So I think it's good to, have a goal of 3 because it gets you past the 1. Obviously you want to have the 1, but you want more than that. Your vision is bigger than that. And my guess is that once you start realizing, some of these goals, your vision is just going to continue to grow. When we were talking, I think before we started recording, you were saying, hey, I'm just here and I want to grow and I want to learn. And I think coming into it with that mindset, once you get to 3, I'm not saying you're going to get more than that, but I think your vision is going to expand, whether that be in the laundromat arena or, some other arena. Because that's just kind of how it works, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, pretty
so
cool.
3's the number in my head.
Yeah.
3's the number in my head. We'll see what happens after 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I love, like, I have so many different interests, and, I love that you're interested in, Forex. And I just love that you have all these different interests and want to, use laundromats to help you, do some of this other stuff that you're interested in, wholesaling and doing Forex. And, that's one of the reasons I really love laundromats, is because it gives you, freedom to be able to try some of this stuff and do some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention, I'd also like to start my own podcast as well, which is going to have nothing to do with laundromats, by the way. So I'm not going to compete against you.
You know what? I would welcome it. I'm not trying to compete with anybody right now. My whole thing is I just want more information about laundromats and laundromat ownership out there. And that's why I love what, Dave Mins is doing with his Laundromat Millionaire. Go check him out on YouTube if you haven't yet, Laundromat Millionaire. And he was show 2 on the podcast. And, just all this, I love just getting more of that information out there, helping people find that freedom through laundromat ownership to be able to, if you want to quit your job down the line or whatever your goals are, laundromats can help you get there, and
absolutely,
and be a jumping off spot. So what do you have any ideas what you want your podcast to be about?
Well, it may sound like a little strange, but like I had mentioned that I like science fiction and horror movies, and I'd like to do like some type of sci-fi, horror, paranormal, ghost kind of podcast. Even though there's so many of them out there, it doesn't matter. I still love to do one.
That's so cool. Look, I have a very serious question to ask you right now.
Sure.
Why haven't you started it yet?
No time. No time, especially now.
Yeah.
I work full time. And then when I'm not working full time, I'm working to get a laundromat. I just don't seem to have any time. And I don't really have a quiet space to do a podcast from right now.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear, I've been hearing my kids yelling out the door on and off. Hope you can't hear it, but sorry if you can.
Oh no, I can't hear them. So don't worry.
Yeah. Quiet space is definitely a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. I would like a quiet space.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, I'm all for that. I think, you'll definitely have to let me know when that comes out, and I'll definitely check it out, and I'll mention it for you to pump you up for all the other laundromat / sci-fi horror fans out there listening to both. But that would be very cool. And I would say too, don't wait too long to do it. Obviously you're working towards a specific goal, and I think it's great to, stay focused. But, when that time does kind of come through, get on it and do it, because it's definitely a lot of fun, man. I've been loving this podcast, and, just, getting to talk to people like you, but also just hearing from other people, their kind of input, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I've been told many times that I have a great voice for like radio podcasts. I don't know, but I've been told.
Yeah, you do. And I've never been told that about my voice.
Really?
So you can do it anyway.
I'm surprised, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, very cool. I mean, I love all these goals. I love, your goal to get 3 laundromats, take a little bit of your income from that, and, do some speculative investing in Forex, doing some wholesaling on the side, starting a sci-fi horror podcast. I mean, all this stuff is awesome. I think it's really cool, directions to go. And I love that you want to use laundromats to help you get there. And I love that you're also putting your money where your mouth is, through hiring Danny and, just getting out there and checking out 50 plus laundromats and doing the legwork, man. It sounds like, I don't want to, obviously I'm not like promising anything, but to me, it sounds like, it's inevitable. You're going to get it and it's going to go well because you're just doing the right things. And I think a lot of life is about just doing the right things consistently over time. And
right. And Danny has told me many times, he's like, you're going to get a store. You're going to get a store. It's a matter of time. He always tells me, just keep doing what you're doing. And you're going to get one. You're going to get one. And I know I am. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And, there have been moments where there was ones that I thought I was going to get, they seemed to be prime to be taken over. And it just didn't go through.
Yeah.
And, I try not to feel discouraged. I maybe feel a little discouraged for a day, but then I'm right back at it. That's what you have to do. Danny always tells me you have the right attitude. Always have the right attitude. And we have a really great working relationship, he and I. We get along so well. We have discussions on the phone that don't even have anything to do with laundromats. But we're always having discussions on the phone. He makes me laugh. I make him laugh. We have a great relationship. So, I like working with him. He likes working with me. And, I know that he's going to bring me over the finish line. But it's not just him. It's a lot of it is me as well.
Yep.
And he acknowledges that as well.
Yep.
It's like, I think of it as a car. Yes, I have Danny at my side, but he can't replace me as the driver of that car.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's the best thing that I ever did was hire him. I know it's going to happen. One day it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Well, yeah. And two, just quick on that is I think it's super important when you are, trying to figure out who you want to work with, that it's somebody that you can get along with, that you can, just kind of connect with, but who also knows their stuff. It's got to be a both and, type of situation in order to, just have that optimal, result that you're looking for. So good. I love hearing that you guys, have a good working relationship. And I love hearing that you're doing all the legwork because, man, it's a recipe for success.
Absolutely.
When he makes one of those videos about you, you'll have to send a link over to me and I'll link it.
Definitely.
Definitely. Love to see
Definitely.
that. Yeah. Well, hey, we have a section on the podcast called Pro Tips. And Pro Tips is basically, you're looking for your first laundromat. Do you have any advice for anyone else who's looking to buy their first laundromat that might help them get, make the progress and get that first laundromat?
Yeah, I would say, it's going back to, doing the legwork, do the legwork. Get into these places, speak to owners, ask the questions, go in there with no fear. Go in there like almost like you own the place.
Yeah.
But don't be, overly arrogant because that's when you get thrown out.
Yeah.
But definitely do the legwork. Do the research. And just learn things. Just always learn. Go on to Dexter's website. Go on to Speed Queen, Wascomat's website. Learn how their machines work. It's very important. There is one thing that that Danny says that I don't necessarily agree with him. He says that all machines seem to be the same. I don't agree with that. There are certain advantages to one machine over another, whether it be, energy efficiency, water use or whatnot, but there are differences. Do your research. It's so important to just do your research. Spend a lot of time researching. And I can't stress this enough. When you open one, do your marketing. Do your marketing. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give you. Once you open one up, just don't let that fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the best advice I can give to somebody. Just do your research. Speak to people. Don't be afraid. The first time I went into a laundromat to scout it, I was terrified. I don't know why. I walked out of there and I said, why was I so nervous? But yeah, just don't approach it with no fear. the whole process, whether you're actually going to shell out money to buy a location, just approach it with no fear.
Yeah, I love that, because I found that when you get out there, when you put yourself out there, when you start talking to people, that's when opportunities happen. I think so many times, I know I've done this a ton in the past, and I hear this all the time, where people just sit and wait for something to happen, and they wait for an opportunity to come their way.
Yeah, big mistake.
That could happen, but it's way, way more likely to happen when you put yourself out there. And I've seen this just from starting this podcast, just some of the opportunities that have come my way, just because I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put myself out there and start a podcast and start talking to people and start interviewing people. And, the same things happened to me. I've walked into laundromats, talked to owners, and, and opportunities have come, opportunities to buy laundromats, opportunities to get laundromats for free, just all kinds of crazy opportunities by getting out there, talking to other laundromat owners. I would even say, hey, go to some, real estate investing meetups, when you can go to meetups again and get together with people, and talk to real estate investors, because those are the landlords of the company, of the spots where you can get laundromats. And who knows what opportunities come through talking to these real estate investors who have commercial units that might have a space that's perfect for a laundromat, or might know somebody, or, just opportunities happen when you get out there. You start letting people know what it is you're looking for, and just, networking and building relationships and talking. So I love that advice. I think it's probably the biggest piece of advice that you can give to somebody new who's looking to buy their first laundromat is get out there, do the legwork, let people know what you're looking for, and what opportunities come your way.
Exactly. Best piece of advice I can offer you, no question.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, where I live, we're very populated, and I actually have to rent a parking spot across the street in a building. Yeah, it's so bad. And the owner there, he and I get along very well, and he owns a lot of property. And I asked him, "Do you own commercial property?" And he said, "No, I don't, but I know people who do." Told him exactly what I was looking for, handed him my business card. I said, if anything comes up, call me. He hasn't called me, but that information is already out there.
Yep.
So it's important. Just get out there.
Yeah. And you talked about earlier how, it's a numbers game. Well, the more people you're talking to, the more things like that you're doing, the more numbers that are getting out there. It's compounding, on itself that way. Right. So, you're doing the right stuff. You're giving the good advice to other new, would-be laundromat owners who are trying to get their first one. And solid advice.
Cool.
Well, Jeff, it's been awesome having you on. I really appreciate, it could be a little intimidating coming on a podcast in general, but coming on a podcast while you're still in the process of looking for your first laundromat, that's, that could be scary. So I appreciate you coming on and just sharing about your journey so far.
I appreciate you having me on here, man. I'm no one special. I don't own 10 laundromats, but you still had me on. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you being on here. It's been a blast being on here.
Yeah. And likewise, and I love, talking with you and getting to know you a little bit, and, hopefully we'll stay in contact too. But I just think that no matter kind of where you're at on this journey, you have something to offer, to the rest of the laundromat community. And, even though you don't own one yet, like your pro tips advice is it's solid advice. It's really great advice for other people who are trying to get in the industry. And you have, sharing your process that you're going through is it's a big deal. So, So thank you again for coming on. Let me ask you this before I let you go. If anybody wants to reach out to you and connect with you and maybe, talk about, your journey a little bit more, is there a good way for them to get in contact with you?
Absolutely. They can always email me at bluewhalewash at gmail.com. I actually already have an LLC. Okay. It's called Blue Whale Wash and Dry.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story about that as well. I kind of named it Blue Whale because one of my favorite stories in the Bible is the book of Jonah. So I named it, Blue Whale because of that, because it's a constant reminder that you can't escape your destiny.
Yeah.
So I decided to name it Blue Whale Wash and Dry.
Yeah. You know what? And it's kind of interesting that you put it that way, because I see kind of some of the parallels actually of like, I mean, you were essentially in the belly of the whale, of the fish, right? It's like, you had to file bankruptcy. That's pretty much like, that's not rock bottom. That's like, you're in a whale under the surface, it's like, that's a hard place to be. And thank you for sharing that, by the way.
Oh, no problem.
It's a tough thing to share, but I
have to be honest with you. It really wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, oh, bankruptcy, it's terrible. It's really not that bad.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad. And, I just needed a fresh start.
Yep.
And I think, I don't know, the powers that be have given me a fresh start in more ways than one.
Yeah. That's awesome. And, it's like the whale coughing you up on shore, right? Like, okay, you got a fresh start. Here you are.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it? And it sounds like you're taking steps to do the right stuff with it, and
definitely.
To really change around, your fortunes and stuff. So
absolutely.
I didn't ask you this, but I'm going to ask you. You may not have anything, but do you have any resources that you would recommend to anyone else looking to get in the industry? A book or any other kind of resource?
No, other than your podcast, no, not really. But I would definitely recommend your podcast.
Thank you. Oh,
and your website and your forums.
Yeah.
It's very helpful. No, even though I haven't done it yet, I do recommend, once an owner gets on their feet, to join the Coin Laundry Association. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who's also one of Danny's students as well. She lives in New York City, who I've contacted, and we keep in touch. We kind of like to bounce ideas off of each other. And she recommends the CLA. She says they have a lot of great webinars that you can learn a lot of stuff. So I think that's a huge resource for anybody out there.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'll put a link to that down in the show notes too, for anybody who wants to go check the CLA out. Cool. Jeff, again, awesome to have you on. Really appreciate it.
Great to be here.
And after you get that first one, we're going to have you back on.
All right.
To talk about how the whole experience went and what it's like owning one now, and to talk about what you're doing to get your second one rolling.
No doubt. I'll be happy to come back on.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, we will talk to you again soon. Thanks again for coming on. What a cool story, man. I mean, it takes guts to get on a podcast and share some of these financial, going through a bankruptcy is tough enough, but to do it in public and to, kind of put yourself out there too, while you're in process of trying to recover from this bankruptcy by trying to get a laundromat. Double super props to Jeff for, just letting us in on the journey. That's what this is all about. And I love that we can have people, who own tons of laundromats on this podcast. And I love that we can have people who don't yet even own a laundromat, and we can learn from both of these people and everyone in between. So, man, thank you for everyone who's come on the podcast. If you're interested in coming on the podcast, sharing your story, doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. If you only own one, if you own multiple, if you're in process, we have something to learn from each other. So check out laundromatresource.com/podcast guest. All the links, including that one, will be in the show notes and the descriptions, which you can find at laundromatresource.com/show19, laundromatresource.com/show19. So check that out there. And I also just wanted to say a special welcome to a couple people who introduced themselves in the new member introductions forum this this week. And I wanted to shout a couple of them out. So Cedric Hines, welcome. And Andre Debs, welcome. Super excited to have you guys on board. If you have recently joined the free membership at laundromatresource.com, man, go to those new member introductions, introduce yourself. If you're lucky, Ron will jump over there and welcome you too, because he is the man lately. And hopefully some other people will welcome you too. Go get to know each other. And if you've already done that, man, get over there and go just say welcome, a huge welcome to some of the other new members that have introduced themselves over there. That's just an awesome opportunity to get to know each other and to grow together. So that is, today's show. I wanted to, as always, try to leave with a takeaway for us and maybe an action step. And one of the things that really struck me about Jeff is that he found himself in a difficult situation and he has not given up. He is taking what he has and he's trying to make the most of it, and he's working hard and he's hustling. And I want to encourage myself and maybe some of you guys, find one thing in this show that you can take away to help yourself grow, to help your business grow, and to help you move you towards financial freedom through laundromat ownership. If that's something that you are excited about doing, for me, the big takeaway that I got from Jeff, and just really inspiring for me, was, just his attitude of, man, okay, I hit some hard times and now I'm going to hit the ground running and just try to recover as best as I can. And he's doing whatever he can to recover and to try to bounce back from that bankruptcy through laundromat ownership. So I'm taking that away. When I hit those difficult patches, a lot of us are in those difficult patches right now with everything that's going on in the world. Take some inspiration from Jeff and, keep plugging forward. Don't ever give up. So that is show number 19. Again, thank you guys for being here, and I can't wait to see you again. We have some awesome interviews lined up in the next couple of shows. You're going to love them. I promise you, you're going to love what's coming up too. So make sure you have subscribed if you haven't subscribed, and go leave us a rating and review. That helps us to get better and helps other people to find us. All right, guys, you are awesome. Get out there and go find financial freedom through laundromat ownership this week. We'll see you next week. Peace.